Tonight, an assessment of the approaching Edo State governorship election due to take place a month from now. It's one of the most hotly anticipated political events in Nigeria, with the major candidates, including Afegbua of the PDP, Monday Okpebholo of the APC, and Olumide Abata of the Labour Party, among others, hoping that the torch of leadership will be passed to them from the incumbent PDP government as the political combatants battle for the very soul of Edo State amid sustained ovation from their supporters, many of whom are reportedly paid to do just that. So how robust a campaign has it been, and how tight a race is it likely to be? And what are the campaign messages that the leading candidates have been hammering home as they try to rally voter support? I'll be joined in the studio by the political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information, and former Edo State governorship aspirant Prince Kasim Afegbua, who is a leading member of the APC in Edo State. And later, I'll also be joined in the studio by the Edo State Commissioner for Digital Economy, Science and Technology, Ifaluyi-Isibor, who is a supporter of the PDP governorship candidate in Edo State, Afegbua. I'm Charles Enyegolu, and this is Arise Prime Time. So, in just about a month from now, the candidates in the governorship election in Edo State will face arguably their biggest political moment as they look to the voters to either cheer them in or count them out. Since the race began, and it is a tight three-way race, there's been something of a tidal wave of enthusiasm in Edo State, with big crowds turning out at rallies across the state. Well, the question is, who will all that political momentum and energy that's been generated favour at the ballot box as the front-runners battle to break through to voters? Well, most punters will tell you that the race is essentially between Afegbua of the PDP, Monday Okpebholo of the APC, and Olumide Abata of the Labour Party. The outcome, though, is less predictable and will likely depend on who's got the sharpest political skills, the strongest coalitions, and the greatest credibility, in addition, of course, to having the deepest pockets. So, who has prepared the best for exactly a moment like this? Well, later I'll be joined in the studio by the Edo State Commissioner for Digital Economy, Science and Technology, Ifaluyi-Isibor, who is a supporter of the PDP governorship candidate in Edo State, Afegbua. But first, I'm joined now in the studio by the political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information, and former Edo State governorship aspirant Prince Kasim Afegbua, who is a leading member of the APC in Edo State, and I understand he's also the official spokesman of the APC campaign in this governorship election there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Charles, good evening.
That sounded like you, doesn't it? that announces in no uncertain terms that Prince Kasim is in the house.
Yeah.
How, though, do you assess the political landscape in Edo State at the moment, with just over a month to go before the governorship elections there?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity of this discussion. As expected, when elections are by the corner, candidates will also have to be going around to solicit for votes, woo voters, talk to them, convince them, sell their manifesto, and try to see how they are able to take particularly a chunk of the undecided voters. Because your members you already know. So those who are the silent, undecided voters are the ones you are going to woo and try to rein them in so that that can deepen your opportunity at the elections. And so far, we are doing so well at the APC.
You're doing well, are you?
Very well.
Let's talk about your candidate, because obviously that's your means of getting to the voters and your big hope for getting into Government House in Benin. What has Monday Okpebholo done to inspire your confidence? in terms of, for instance, his work at the Senate? He is a senator.
Well, thank you very much, Charles. Monday Okpebolo has spent barely 1 year in the Senate. He's a first-timer. But the beauty of his senatorial aspiration that gave birth to his victory last year is the fact that he has done so much for his senatorial district in terms of relating with the people, sharing in their aspirations, seen as a homeboy to the extent that he defeated an incumbent two-term Senator Clifford Odia of the PDP. It was the first time that the APC were having an inroad into Edo Central. Before now, or before then, APC had no grip of the politics of Edo Central. So
what do you think gave him the edge?
What gave him the edge is because, first, his subliminal humility, his emotional intelligence. He's somebody who is very respectful. He also comes out like, to the people like a philanthropist of note. Before even contesting for Senate, he has been sharing in the aspirations of the people, constructing, if you know the problem of Edo Central, you know that water is a problem. He has constructed industrial borehole up to about 28 in different local governments. There are 5 local governments. He has built schools that government are unable to fix. He has constructed roads, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and all of that. He has contributed to the security structure. He bought vehicles. He also has vehicles that he bought that is providing free transportation for people. So at the local level, for free. And so he fuels those vehicles and they can take people free. They're about 3 years now. And so that kind of, those kind of engagements put him in the minds of the people.
Yeah, and but I'm sure a lot of the other candidates, I mean, they can mention innumerable things. I mean, we've seen their adverts, we've seen the things they do. They can all say that they've done something. The question is, which one of them is the one that is the better candidate? Do you obviously consider him to be a good candidate? I mean, you're the official spokesman of the campaign, but I have to be honest. I mean, listening to him, he doesn't sound articulate or even vaguely literate. And I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just being honest. That's the way he comes across to me. I mean,
Charles,
we're not seeing him doing interviews, I mean, like one-on-one interviews on television, at which point we can then have a better assessment of him.
Well,
I'm wondering what the
you see,
point is.
Charles, I find him very, interesting and funny at the same time. Each time I hear this kind of commentary, because he's someone we...
Well, it's just an observation, and hopefully you will clear the air.
No, because we interact with him every day. We've met quite a number of critical stakeholders. And the kind of endorsement he's been getting, if those people think that he doesn't have anything to offer, they won't be giving him endorsement. Over 10,000 pastors, 2 weeks ago gave him endorsement. Artisans, people he has assisted in time past and present, gave him endorsement. Farmers Association of Nigeria, Edo State branch, gave him endorsement. Quite a number of critical stakeholders that would naturally help to galvanize the votes. And you see, when you said he's not articulate, I don't understand how that comes about.
Well, I mean, I don't know him personally. I've just listened to him, and he doesn't come across as articulate.
Proficiency in speaking English language is not a determinant of how much of leadership you are able to deliver.
Communication is an essential part of a political career and a politician's means of reaching the people.
Now, when you say communication, right, you also have to understand that you communicate in the language that those you are leading understand.
Yes.
That is key, even when you try to define proper communication. And the typical average Edo person, our typical language is Pidgin English.
Yeah.
Let me land. Even those who pride themselves as being good speakers of Queen's English have resorted to campaigning in pidgin.
Yeah, but the important point here is that the whole, you need to get votes from those people, but you also need to be able to communicate to the world on behalf of those people. You've got to be able to attract investments to the state.
For God's sake.
You've got to be able to sit there with all kinds of technocrats and business people and, you know, officials from around the world. You see what I mean?
I don't mind the global view you are giving to the position. That's fine. But for all intents and purposes, those central people who gave him votes to represent him as a senator saw the quality in him and the content in him and his character also. They
but the whole state needs to see
allow me to
don't they?
And they saw that in him before they gave him votes. As far as Edo State is concerned today, and amongst the candidates contesting, he remains the man to beat because 42,000 Edo Central people gave him votes to defeat the PDP candidate. That is one. Secondly, he is chairman of Senate Committee on Procurement. He's a graduate of Business Administration, University of Abuja. So I don't know when people talk, when people say he can't speak English. What has he been speaking with when he's going on campaign? I don't understand.
I don't know.
No, it is convenient. No, sorry.
Yeah.
It is convenient. It is convenient for our political opponents to latch on to that. But again,
I'm not a political opponent.
No. I'm just you are drawing your inferences from what you hear.
No. I've heard him speak.
But you've not invited for him for
okay,
one interview.
Let me put it this way.
Let me learn.
Look, let me just say, but let me make this clear.
Okay.
We don't take sides, okay? We will exactly, it doesn't matter which candidate it is.
No, not say we, say you don't take sides.
We don't take sides. Arise News does not take sides.
No,
and what I'm going to say, well, let me then rephrase the question and put it this way. What is his economic and social philosophy? Because he has to, even if he's speaking in pidgin English, he still has to communicate to the people what his plan is for them. What is his economic, let me make the point. What is his economic and social philosophy? And how will he bring that to bear in terms of his programs for economic and social development if he becomes governor of Edo State?
You see, very simple, very simple. You know, Edo State presently is being run aground. And I'm happy
that's what you say.
Well, I'm there, we go around, we see things. I have not, it will have been able to be interesting for me if I was facing one of them so that we can address these issues, you know.
Well, one of them is coming on after you.
And after me, but that will not, you know, I will have loved to engage, you know, because when you talk about, in fact, the performance of the PDP-led government in the state is what is making the Okpebholo candidacy sell so fast and upping his popularity across board. And I tell you, with all due sense of responsibility, that Edo State has been very bad hands in the last 7 years. Bad hands in the sense that the kind of resources we are getting in Edo State, there are no corresponding impacts on ground. Edo is very beautiful in terms of graphics online. You can see beautiful edifices here and there, old structures that have been repainted, repackaged, and all of that. But in terms of the physical, what impacts the people, you know, what impacts the people, we are not seeing the impact of the kind of resources we are getting. And I give you a typical example. For the past 1 year since Tinubu came on board, Edo had received so much from federal allocation because there has been increment. From 13% derivation, we have gotten 22.3 billion from 13% derivation as Edo own share. The record of their own internally generated revenue is showing 64.7 billion in 1 year. The federal allocation is showing 184 billion in 1 year. The money from federal government for security support, 10 billion. For palliative support, 7 billion. By the time you add all these figures together, you are talking about 250, 270 billion thereabout. Now, the expectation will be that in that 1 year, you will see the impact of that resources. But during the end bad government protests, we saw a state government hiding even palliatives that were given by the federal government, 20 trucks of rice. They kept them in their PDP members' home and trying to rebag them. Even the one donated by Dangote were also hidden from the people. So, and that has been the tradition of palliatives and all of that. Now, what do you need to do in Edo to change the narrative? The health sector is in comatose. If you permit me, I will show you visuals of what one of the general hospitals look like. The general hospital in Agbede, to be specific. It's in terrible shape. When you see it, even doctors are saying they are ashamed to even go to the office. Now, and that is the same story across most of the general hospitals in the state. The central hospital was demolished in Benin, and in its place, they were building Edo Museum of West African Arts because they are in competition with the monarchy, trying to grab the artifacts that were returned from Sweden, Italy, Germany, and London. And so, when you have such kind of scenario, you just need little to be able to connect the dots. Because within the Edo political economy, you need to understand that Edo people are very enlightened people. You can fool them all the time, but you can't fool everybody every time. Because when you try to do divide and rule, you spread hatred and disharmony instead of preaching love and harmony. Chances are that when it is time for elections as this, it's an opportunity for them to punish you like a referendum and punish you with their votes. So for me, I'm seeing these votes as a fait accompli already. APC will defeat PDP hands down. That is not in doubt. They've been trying to use all manners of subterfuge and threat and intimidation using a Edo security network, arming them with guns and all that. And once now they are calling their people that they should come and they should come for investigation, over the killing of Inspector Onuako, one of the security aides of Mondo Pueblo. They are crime blue murder. So the point is,
it's interesting that that's the allegation they're making against the APC. Yeah. That because the APC is the incumbent government on the federal level, the national level.
I would love,
and they're making the allegation that you're trying to bring in federal muscle in order to intimidate people locally. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Why don't we make this more interesting? Because you yourself, you sat there and you said you would really like to have one person from the other side sit next to you. Fortunately, we've got that person sitting here, and that is the current commissioner in Edo State for Digital Economy, Science and Technology, Obeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, who is a member of the PDP. So we're going to bring him on. Let's take a short break, and when we come on, the two of them can go head to head. Stay with us. Welcome back to Arise Prime Time. I'm Charles Enyegodo. Now let's continue our assessment of the approaching Edo State governorship election due to take place a month from now. It's one of the most hotly anticipated political events in Nigeria, with the major candidates including Asue Ighodalo of the PDP, Monday Okpebholo of the APC, and Olumide Abata of the Labour Party, among others, hoping that the torch of leadership will be passed to them from the incumbent PDP government as the political combatants battle for the very soul of Edo State amid rapturous applause and sustained ovation from their supporters, many of whom are reportedly paid to do just that. So how robust a campaign has it been, and how tight a race is it likely to be? And what are the campaign messages that the leading candidates have been hammering home as they try to rally voter support? Well, for his perspective, I'm joined now in the studio by the Edo State Commissioner for Digital Economy, Science and Technology, Obeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, who's a supporter of the PDP governorship candidate in Edo State, Asue Ighodalo. And I still have with me in the studio the political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information and former Edo State governorship aspirant, Prince Kasim Afegbua, who's a leading member of the APC in Edo State and who is in fact the official spokesman of the campaign, the APC campaign there. Thank you very much indeed for you staying with us. And of course, good to see you again.
Thank you, Charles. It's an honor to be here again. I appreciate it.
And let's just leap straight into it, because before I get you to respond to some of the things he said, just looking at the proceedings so far in terms of the election campaign, what's your assessment?
Well, thank you again. It's an honor to be here, as I said before. We are glad and excited that the Edo people once again are having to make a choice, are having to determine who will pilot their affairs, who would deploy their resources to their benefit for the next 4 years. And in Edo, we have done an excellent job. We have done a remarkable job.
Well, you would say that.
No, and that's what Edo people generally say. And that is why they are excited to continue the progress. They are excited to continue from where Governor Godwin Obaseki is going to stop. And they are excited about the quality of the candidate that is going to take over from Godwin Obaseki. In Edo, the people are prosperous. They are happy. They are happier than they've ever been. And we have an excellent story to tell, and I'm always very excited when I have to tell Nigerians and Edo people about the story we have to tell. Edo is #1 on several fronts, and I'm happy to share it. We're #1 in digital transformation and public digital infrastructure. By September 1st this year, we'll be celebrating our 1-year anniversary of going completely paperless. We are the
and
only,
you are the commissioner.
Yes,
so
we are the only subnational.
You're blowing your own trumpet.
Yes, we're the only subnational in West Africa to have all correspondence in government, mails or memos, happen without paper on a digital platform. We didn't stop there. Edo State is the only state to have connected all local government councils. We have laid 2,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables across the state, unprecedented in Nigeria. We didn't stop there. Edo State is the only state that has a certified data center. We now house and store our own data and offer commercial services to other folks. And we have not stopped there. Edo State today is the only state with an emergency command and control center. If you call 739 or 112 on your phone now, you have somebody there, you have a group of people there waiting 24/7 to respond to distress calls.
I have to admit that, in fairness to you, we have tried that and it does work.
And it worked. And we didn't stop
739
there.
and 112.
It works. Yeah. And Edo State is the only state with such infrastructure. And like I said, we have not stopped there. We are collaborating with hotel owners, with restaurant owners, and all the ISPs who have masts in Edo State. We're having surveillance cameras on all their masts to ensure we have beautiful surveillance across the state. We have not stopped there. We are deploying men every month across the state to help us control security in our rural areas. The Edo story is so beautiful, and we can go on and on. We have also not stopped there. You know, in education, we have Lagos State today, we have Kenya, we have Botswana, we have Rwanda. These are national governments coming to a sub-national in Nigeria, Edo State in this case, to learn from what we have done in education. We have the Edo Basic Education Sector Transformation. What have we done there? We have a curriculum, we have a synchronized pedagogy that every school in Edo State, whether it's in a rural area or it's in an urban area, as long as it's in the basic education sector, our kids are learning at the same time, on the same day, and this has boosted our economic profile because we're focusing on education. We have not stopped there. Edo State is no longer referred to as a civil service state like it used to be. We have made significant transformations in industrialization. And many people say that we are the fastest growing industrialization network in the South-South region. And how have we gotten there? Purposeful leadership. We have 2 modular refineries. We have 2 petrochemical plants. We have 2 ethanol plants. We have Dangote Cement. We have Boa Cement. We have Dufil Primary Foods, the makers of Indomie. They have found their home in Edo State now because we have wonderful cassava and oil palm that they use in their production.
And all that has happened during the
all
time
this has
of
happened
Governor
in the
Obaseki,
last 7 years. What have we done to our IGRO?
Okay.
We have prospered our IGRO and improved it from over 150%. That is unprecedented, unexampled, unparalleled in Nigeria.
Right.
And we have not stopped there. Benin City is a growing city. It's an Asian city. And so what are we having to do? We are building a new coral city so that people who are coming to Edo State can live, work, and play in Edo. And now we're saying that the infrastructure in Benin is clogged. We're building a new city where we're going to have 100,000 homes for people to prosper.
Okay,
and
well,
we haven't stopped there.
You've made that point.
Okay.
We will come, I mean, you'll have opportunity to speak, and I'm going to bring Prince Kasim Afegbua in a minute. But the APC, as well as your other political opponents in the state, accuse the PDP government of plunging the state into a crippling debt crisis by borrowing lots of money but with very little to show for it. What's your response to that before I come to him?
Well, I just listed to you a couple of the industries and manufacturing plants that do not exist anywhere else in Nigeria.
No, what I'm asking
you asked about the debts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
we have borrowed.
heavily indebted? Much more so than it was before.
Every developing economy needs to raise funds. We need to raise funds for capital projects that would spur the economy, generate revenue to pay back the debts. So it is not so much about the borrowings, but what are you doing with the borrowings? I just told you now, we've prospered our IGR by over 150%. I just told you now that cassava farmers are now the big ballers in Edo State. We have 2 ethanol plants, the only sub-national in Nigeria to have 2 ethanol plants within 4 years, and we're having to supply 50 trucks of cassava to these ethanol plants every day. So what have we done with the monies we've borrowed? Are we improving education? Yes. Are we improving infrastructure? Yes. We are now becoming the health hub in the South-South region. Edo Health Insurance Scheme is the most robust health insurance in Nigeria with over 300,000 residents.
Let me bring you in, Prince Kasim Afegbua. What is your reaction to the things that he has said? Okay, you react with a cackle.
he's so excited.
You see, Charles.
Yeah.
I like the fact that when elections come, it's a moment for sober reflection. I think if the government is proud of its achievement, so to speak, the governor will be going around with the candidate to campaign. The fact that Governor Obaseki is not seen anywhere campaign with Obaseki knows that he has become the headquarters of halitosis in terms of leadership rendition and governance. I am shocked that my friend here, one of the very strong critics of Obaseki before he joined the government, could tell Edo people that you ask him about debts, and he's saying that if you want to build capital project, you have to go for debts. At a time that you said your IGR has improved for 150%. So what are you doing with the money? I've just told you that for 1 year, they got 64 billion from IGR. That's not my figure, it's the figure of their own statistics. Now, within this same period, election is coming, you have two months to go. You are signing a budget of 450 billion just last week, less than 2 months to leave the office. You collected a loan of 24 billion barely 2 weeks ago. And
from where? Where did you collect loan from?
And you have taken Edo from 43 billion inherited debts to 570 billion. And you tell me right there sitting here that you are doing things. The Dangote and Bua cement, for God's sake, please, Obaseki government did not bring that to bear. They are in my community of Okpela. Bua cement was Oshomole's project, Oshomole's initiative. The Dangote cement, the same Oshomole. So if you now come here to even claim that, it shows that the government is a government of liars. I'm sorry to say that. Because these things must be stated, historically and accordingly with, how they came about. Dangote himself will tell you that when they did the official launch of Dangote, it was in my community of Okpela. The 2 of them are in my community. They promised that they will give us Auchi Airport because of those businesses. They've not even cleared any site. They promised that they will give us Gelegele Port, for which we celebrated. Even myself, the governor told me he was going to build a 6-lane road connecting Gelegele as a port to the Dangote cement and Bua cement in my community, because Okpela is like an industrial hub now, as a result of these 2 giants. We never see anything like that, not even this thing. The roads in Edo, the state roads, are in parlor state. Erosion is a sickening reality. If rains fall, Any time rain is about, maybe the clouds are unfalling, Charles, people will be frightened. You know why? Because it will all be flooded. Both GRA, but even front of government house, leading to the 4th Brigade. As I speak now, there is a pond that's like a swimming pool right there.
Well, I must.
The point must be made.
Yeah,
that
briefly.
When you say you are building Kora City, at what expense? You've demolished people's houses, villagers' houses, or Baye community, and quite a number of all those communities. You seize their farmland, and because you want to develop a Kora City, there has to be interconnectivity between the people who are the aborigines of the land and you as a state government. You don't come breathing down their throat. Then you live. In fact, even the level of what you call acrimony, bad blood, combativeness, quarrelsomeness of the governor himself is also a disincentive to anybody who wants to.
Let me bring you in, Obede. I mean, he's made some fairly strong allegations there.
They are not allegations; they are facts.
First of all, he said that the factories you claimed came into existence under Governor Obaseki were there well before his time. How do you respond to that?
Well, when I was speaking earlier, I mentioned that Dangote Cement and Boa Cement have prospered even more under Governor Obaseki.
Right.
I did not say that they came in under the Governor Obaseki.
No.
I mentioned, excuse me, sir. Yeah. I mentioned the modular refineries. I mentioned the ethanol plants. I mentioned the ceramic manufacturing plants. I mentioned Dufil. I mentioned Dupont. I mentioned Green Hill. These are all multinational businesses that now prosper in Edo State. Dangote and Boa Cement have also prospered because our government has given them, a good atmosphere, a good environment.
But he raised a
prosper.
very important question. Yes. He said that if all these companies are prospering the way you say they are, if you've tripled internally generated revenue the way that you say you have, why are you borrowing so much money?
No, these monies were borrowed for capital projects, right? It is funny for anyone to say that if you are prospering your economy by growing your IGR, then why are you borrowing money for capital projects? How are investors going to come to your economy if you're not building infrastructure?
No, but if the borrowing has gone from
those are figures. No, excuse me. No, that's the IGR, not the borrowings.
Right.
It's the IGR that has
that's the internally generated revenue.
Yes.
Has it? In fact, I think what we've got. They said the internal generated revenue was at about 3.5 billion naira per month. I think. When Governor Obaseki took over, according to the figures that we're being told, he's tripled that IGR to between 6 and 9 billion naira.
And that's because businesses are doing well in Edo State.
Right, so they're paying more taxes.
That is exactly what it means.
Right.
Edo State were paying the highest minimum wage in Nigeria for the past 8 years. Our public and civil servants, yes, we are. Our public and civil servants have the best condition of service. They have the best working environment. So all of these things, we had to source out for funds to execute these projects. It doesn't happen by magic. And Obage community is where my father is from. Obage community is still existing today and they're prospering. Government lands belong to the government.
When you say existing, what does that mean? Obviously, they're existing.
Yes,
they're alive,
he just made the claim.
Are they thriving?
He made the claim that that was an allegation he just made that is baseless. That is the community where I originally come from.
And there's nothing going on there. Houses?
The Coral City is built on government land. When people go to take government land and build on government land, it doesn't become theirs. It is still government land. And so when government takes her land to build infrastructure, and you know what Governor Obaseki has done? He's also giving some level of compensations to these people who built on government land.
Well, in fairness to them, I mean, every state, if you go to Lagos State, you go to Enugu, the same thing happens when people go and, if you like, trespass over land
it's still,
that really shouldn't belong to them. But let me ask you this, Prince Kasim, the PDP, let's return to the candidates, because this is really about elections and campaigning.
It's about our state. What we are discussing is very
no, absolutely. But I mean, the PDP is citing their candidate, Mr. Ighodalo, as someone who's put together a very sound economic master plan for Edo State. They say he's raised billions of dollars for the private sector, has international connections to attract investment to Edo State, and that Mr. Okpebholo could not hope to match that experience. Well, what is your reaction to that?
Please, before I answer that question, help me to ask him.
Well, you can ask him.
Yeah, the two ethanol plants he's talking about, are they owned by Edo State government? The modular refinery, are they owned by Edo State government?
In today's world,
government does not own things.
Allow me, Charles, allow I know why I'm asking.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
Then the cassava plantation, he said every day about 50 trucks of cassava. Can he just tell me one location where that plantation is located in Edo? Just one location.
Nosak and Green Hills are the two ethanol plants in Edo. I have visited them before. If you go on the internet, you'll see videos of that happening. There are cassava plantations in that locality, in where Green Hill is located and where Nosak. In Orema local government and in the Pabaka local government. These are known facts.
You can't mention the village.
No, it doesn't matter whether I can mention the names or not. These are things. No, hold on, sir. You asked the question. You asked the question.
Let him answer.
These are things that exist. And even the blind can tell that these things exist. You can Google them and they will tell you. You know. So what have we done in Edo State? We have moved Edo State way beyond they could ever imagine. The APC cannot, for the life of me, come before Nigerians today to talk about economic growth when there have been a mess at the federal level and they want to transport or translate that same mess to Edo State and the people are rejecting it. You asked him just now about his candidate. The candidate has no presence, has no charisma, has no competence, cannot even express himself in English or even in his local dialect. He cannot. They wrote down for him a 5-point agenda. The man is unable to list them chronologically without being reminded by somebody. Edo State cannot move from where we are now with the Governor of Obaseki to a Monday Okpebholo, who you said has not proven himself. He won the elections yet by a protest vote against the third-term agenda of Senator Odia. Even the dog in the 2023 general elections in Edo Central would have won the elections in the APC. It wasn't about competence. It wasn't about character. It was about the protest against the third-term agenda of Senator Odia. So you asked him, why has his candidate been unable at home or at the national level to present himself before the people? You are applying for a job. You have submitted your resume. The people want to interview you. Why are you running away from those who you seek to lead, those who you seek to serve?
Well,
it's because
it's because, to be honest, Arise has hosted both the Labour candidate and the PDP candidate.
You know,
can I land?
No, please.
Can I land on that? We're comparing Imondo Okpebholo to an Asun Ighodalo, a consummate lawyer who was chairman of Sterling Bank, who was chairman of Nigerian Breweries, who was chairman of Living Oil, who was chairman of Nigerian Economic Summit Group, who was chairman of the Summit Welfare Fund. Are we going to compare such a man who has achieved what only a few Nigerians in the lifetime have achieved? It's an honor for us in Edo to have such a person to come to lead us.
You see, I just, by way of aside, asked him those questions, and he's almost taking all my time. The point is, yes.
No. You've had more time than he has.
You see, because it is very convenient for people to come on TV and tell lies. Monday Okpebholo, we ran our campaign in Uromi, senatorial campaign in Uromi, on live TV, and he spoke in the language of the Isan. Their candidate speaks with an interpreter. It is on record. That is what. Please don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me.
Sorry.
And your candidate spoke using an interpreter to do that. You have catalogued the credentials of an Ighodalo who is the advisor-in-chief to Obaseki. And I'm shocked that an answer that you portray as the chairman of Nigerian Breweries posted 106 billion naira loss at Nigerian Breweries. Back to back, 75 billion and 106 billion. That's the man who is the chairman of this thing. You are chairman of Sterling Bank. Not one branch of that bank is in the entire Eastern land. To add to the economy of Eastern people. I'm coming. Your community of Ewohimi.
A bank situated based on ethnicity?
Please, I'm coming. Please, people draw businesses to places to ease economic activities. So you don't tell me that banks are this thing. Ewokimi, where he comes from, for 7 good years now, till now, they have been under dark.
That's not true.
Under darkness.
That is a lie.
No electricity.
That is not
true. The governor has not been able to fix it.
That is not
we
true.
were there today to campaign today. Even right there in Ewokimi, an old man, an octogenarian, gave ram as present while rendering prayers for Monday Okpebolo, that he remembers that Oshiomhole was the one who constructed the road in that place. The second road has been made like that for the past 7 years. That's another. Within the Edo Central, where Aswe comes from, Aswe comes to Isha maybe once in 10 years. Now he came home to speak to them. He couldn't understand the language. He was speaking through an interpreter. Monday Okpebolo donated 5 vehicles kitted with state-of-the-art gadgets for security for the entire 5 local governments of Island.
Invisible vehicles.
When they are
invisible.
there. Cannot be seen. No, they are there.
He's been talking about these things do not exist.
Allow me. When they ask Aswe Ighodalo for contribution, you only give 100,000.
That is also not true.
And said that
Aswe Ighodalo has a record.
I am coming. Let me finish.
He has donated transformers to his community.
Let me finish.
So it is not true. When he talks about lying, he cannot come on national TV to lie.
Ewokimi does not exist in the plan in another planet. It exists here. Ewokimi. We were there today. They don't have electricity as we speak.
Okay. I'm
coming.
You see, you can't hug the time, all of it.
But
You've spoken considerably. Let him respond to the things you said.
I find it very interesting when very enlightened people like us come on national TV to talk about a candidate not being able to speak his local village dialect. Hold on, sir. You are going to govern a state of 5.6 million people. 80% of them are not Ishan, are not from Isan, who do not understand that language. So how on earth? How can it be then? How do we reduce ourselves to that level where you're grading a candidate based on his local dialect? Is he going to be speaking Ishan when he's going to represent those states at the World Bank and at the IMF? When he's talking to the president and trying to argue on behalf of the state, is he going to be speaking Ishan language? When he has his state executive council, are we going to be speaking Ishan language? I want to appeal to the APC. And we share their travail, we share their frustration. And indeed, our prayers, hold on, sir. Our prayers and thoughts are with them because they find it difficult to sell their candidates. The candidate finds it difficult to express himself. And deep down in his heart, he has that he wishes, because at the moment Okpebolo was announced the candidate, we remember he rebelled against it. He said, how can where we have people like him?
Well, he was an
aspirant, yes. Yeah. And he mentioned it, that to him, it was an insult that you are having an Okpebolo to get the party candidate where people like him, and I give him the credit. You see, he's a very sound mind. I want to say before him now.
Don't play my
in the depths of his heart.
Let me speak for myself.
In the depths of his
heart. I said.
It is particular with the APC to be proud of what they should be ashamed of. And we know that at the unguarded moments of their hearts, they are ashamed of the candidate they have. That is not a competitor to an Aswe Ighodalo, who stands tall in the scheme of things.
Okay. Somebody stands tall. He's been an advisor-in-chief to Obaseki. They demolished Central Hospital, and they are building...
Let me
don't interrupt me.
Okay.
Don't interrupt me. I'm giving you facts. You demolish Central Hospital that has existed over 100 years. Please allow me to talk.
Listen, please.
I understand the frustration.
Let's make this a civilized discussion.
No, but it shouldn't be interrupted.
Okay.
Sorry about
it. But make your point, please.
An advisor-in-chief, you sat down there, you allow them to demolish the Central Hospital, which is the hub of health provision in Edo State, and they are building Edo Museum of West African Arts, or over artifacts that are not...
We're building Stella
Please allow me... Stella Hospital was built by Lucky Igbeneghu. Tell him not to interrupt me.
Okay.
Allow me to
just
talk.
give him a minute.
Right. Please, Igbeneghu built, Lucky Igbeneghu as governor, built Stella Hospital. If you are expanding, that's a different thing. But why would you demolish Central Hospital that everybody knows?
That has been there for 100 years.
It doesn't matter.
Dilapidated buildings that were collapsing on people. People were almost...
Allow me to finish. The one that Adam Oshiomhole built, the Legacy Hospital, you contracted it out to outsiders, as if Edo people do not have doctors or people who can manage hospitality business. Now, you sit back, rain will fall, everywhere is flooded, you are not doing anything about erosion, you are not doing anything about state roads, then you come here and tell me that the Edo economy has improved.
I'm shocked, sir. I'm shocked, sir. You're talking about erosion when the government you served borrowed 25 billion naira from the World Bank and squandered the money. And so the Benin stormwater project, yes, it's true.
You guys are making
the
allegations and counter-allegations.
The Benin stormwater project was stalled because the Adams Oshomole government squandered the money. So when he's talking about erosion, let him apologize. Yes.
We've got literally 2 minutes to end the show. So you've got 1 minute to make your final comment, and he's got 1 minute to make it, and your time begins now.
Thank you. I'm calling on the Edo people at home and abroad to pull in one direction. Let's pull in one direction because we have a man we have confidence in. We have a man we can vouch for his competence. We can vouch for his character. We can see what he has done as a private individual. We can see how he has prospered businesses. And what he wants to do now is to move Edo State forward to the first world. That is a man that we can be proud of, that can represent us in the Committee of Nations, that can represent us before the world, and we have confidence that he will speak for us and he will speak on our behalf. This is not a time to reward failure. The APC has failed at the national level. We cannot reward them by giving them votes this time around. And I'm appealing to them to have His Excellency, the President of the Nation, come to Edo State to campaign with them, and let us see the outcome of the results.
Thank you very much. His APC has failed at the center, but they increase your monthly allocation as a result of subsidy removal. You now get so much money. 184 billion within 1 year you got compared to the one you were getting before. They paid you 22.3 billion for palliative. Derivation, 30% derivation. Okay. They gave you 10 billion for security support. They give 7 billion for palliatives. They gave you 20 trucks of rice. You went and hid them. You want to repackage them into your own as a state government.
That is not true.
Now we are saying that we are tired of recruiting cowboys from Lagos. They say Edo no be Lagos. Why would you want to come and use Edo State to add value to your business, your private businesses and all of that? Okay. Edo is poor today, but Obaseki's private business, Afri-Invest, is booming. And you can go to Lagos and Gerard Road, you will see their 7-8-story building headquarters, from a rented apartment to that kind of this thing. What we are telling Edo people, we want a homeboy, somebody that can connect to the problems of the people. Okay. I've just told you that that's why Godalo doesn't come home, and even if he comes, he doesn't sleep in Ewohimi. And there is no electricity in Ewohimi as we speak.
Okay. Gentlemen, I really have to come in. On that note, I want to thank both of you very much indeed. This is clearly going to be a very tight race, but a fascinating
It won't be a tight race.
We are way ahead. We are way ahead.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Will come second.
Hold on. We really must end the program now. Gentlemen, I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much indeed. The Obede Ifaluyi-Isibor is the Edo State Commissioner for Digital Economy, Science and Technology. He's a member of the PDP. And, of course, Prince Kasim Afegbua is a political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information, former Edo State governorship aspirant, leading member of the APC, and currently the chief spokesman of the APC campaign in Edo State. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Fascinating discussion.
Is rotten.
Thank you very much. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.